Om. 53rd Sutra of the Vibhuti Pada is Jati Lakshana Desher Anyatanavachedatu Tulyayostata Pratipattihi. Jati Lakshana Desher Anyatanavachedatu Tulyayostata Pratipattihi. Jati Lakshana Desha Anyata Anavacheda Tulya Tatha Pratipattihi. Jati Lakshana Desheranyata Anavachedatu Tulya Yostataha Pratipattihi. Jati is class. Grouped together. Same class, same group. That is called Jati. Lakshana, quality, characteristics. Desha is a place. Anyata, differences, differentiations. Anavacheda, anavacheda, no difference, non-separateness. Tulya is similar, sameness. Tataha, from that. Pratipatti is knowledge. Pratipatti is knowledge. And this sutra is very important sutra, giving rise to a very important Vibhuti mentioned by Maharshi Patanjali, and of course describes the various dimensions of the knowledge. And the rough understanding of the sutra is from this, that is from the knowledge, there is a clear knowledge, clear understanding of two things which are seemingly equivalent because they cannot be distinguished by class, characteristic or position. How beautiful it is. The similarity between the two objects or two things cannot be distinguished by the distinguishable properties such as the class, characteristic and the position can be distinguished. From that means from Vivekajnanam. Tataha is used. From Vivekajam Jnanam, distinction between similarities which cannot be distinguished by Jati Lakshana Desha. And this knowledge comes, Pratipatti comes. So Vivekajam Jnanam and Pratipatti. This significant, important word in this particular sutra is Pratipatti. Pratipatti means what? Pratipatti means resolved. We have till now hearing the word Samapatti. Samapatti is a fusion of two things which are apparently separate. But Pratipatti is resolution of two things originally fused or inseparable. Means a little bit of explanation is needed to understand this particular sutra, where Pratipatti, the knowledge, is to be understood. Now, how do we distinguish? How do we know these two things are different? How the differentiation is recognized? the differentiation is always recognized, or the differentiation is perceived. Differentiation is noted based on three things. Jati. Jati means the class. And differentiation is also recognized, noticed by lakshana, characteristics, and the place. For example, a cow and a donkey is there. It's very clear. The class, the jati of the cow is different. Go jati it is. And the class, jati of the donkey is different. It is khara jati. Marjala jati is the jati of the cats. Shwana jati, jati of the dogs. Mandara jati, the class of the mandara flowers. Padma jati, the class of the flowers of lotus. All lotus flowers, Padma jati. All champaka jati, all flowers of champaka. So this is how we distinguish between the two. But in the same character, same class, how do we distinguish between the two things? That is by the characteristics, qualities, lakshanas. Brown cow, white cow. Small cow, larger cow. Short cow, bigger cow. Cow with horns, cow with short horns. Characteristics within the same class. Characteristics within the same class. That is, the characteristics differentiate within the class. If characteristics also are same, class also is same, then how do we distinguish? It is distinguished by the place it occupies. Desha. Oh, this is here, this is there. This is on the right side, this is on the left side. This is on the above, this is here. This is at that particular place, this is at this particular place. By differentiation in the desha. If jati is same, similar, lakshana also is similar, and desha is also similar, then what happens? Anyata is anavacheda. It is impossible or difficult to find out the differentiations and the separateness. And the ability to do that is the knowledge. Tataha tulyaha it is. And what is that ability? That is the pratipatti. That is the knowledge. And resolving it by that. How beautiful it is that a yoga sadhaka, a yogi, with this vibhuti, will be able to distinguish between two similarly looking flowers. Two similarly looking red roses, two similarly looking mandara flowers, two similarly looking stones, two similarly looking objects, two similarly looking wood pieces, and to have some idea of the method which can be adopted by solving such a problem, it is necessary that we distinguish exactly the similar things. And it means that they appear and disappear alternately in that position. And this, all the three are similar. The only distinction will be the distinction of time it is. Kala. At a particular place. That's why the earlier that the Kshanakrama has been taught. And under these circumstances, the time factor alone can distinguish between them. You will have to be subject them to a particular time analysis and a greater resolving power from the frequency with which they replace each other in the same position. Within that, what is the replacement frequency? And the frequency with which two things can replace each other in this manner has a limiting value, and that is the frequency with which kshanas, moments succeed. That's why this particular sutra is a following of the previous sutra. Tataha is used for that. From that knowledge of Vivekajam Jnanam and Kshanatakramayoho, you will be able to distinguish and separate inseparable things, indistinguishable things, because of the prapatti and the knowledge which comes. And this is important, powerful Vibhuti Maharshi Patanjali presents to all of us. And the ability of the sadhaka and the advanced yogi, which he can do it, which will be identical in every respect. But you will be able to distinguish between that. Say a book, there are two books, of everything is same. How do we distinguish between that? We cannot distinguish based on the jati, lakshana or desha. The only thing which will be able to distinguish, separate it, anavacheda, but anyata is possible by the prapatti of the Vivekajam Jnanam, outcome of the Ksanakrama it is. By the time. How the second copy replaced the first copy. The difference. That is how we can distinguish between it. In a factory of manufacturing company, if millions of biscuits are produced, how do we distinguish between two biscuits? The only distinction we can bring out between two biscuits is the second one is following the first one. Because both are similar in all the aspects. How the second one is replacing at a particular place, that is the Ksanakrama. That is the fourth criteria, fourth dimension, which is beyond the normal three dimensions. And this sutra has that important presentation. Time is the fourth dimension. And the subtlety of that is an important aspect of this particular sutra. Number 53, which we have seen that. Again, Swami Vivekananda masterly concludes his bhashya, commentary on this 53rd sutra. Jati lakshana desanyata anavacheda tulyatataha pratipattihi. Swami Vivekananda says, when the objects are so mixed up that even these differentiate will not help us, the power of discrimination acquired by the above mentioned practice will give us the ability to distinguish them. The highest philosophy of the yogi is based upon this fact, that the Purusha is pure and perfect and is the only simple that exists in this universe. The body and the mind are compounds, and yet we are ever identifying ourselves with them. That is a great mistake, that the distinction has been lost. When this power of discrimination has been attained, man sees that everything in this world, mental and physical, is a compound, and as such cannot be the Purusha. And Vivekananda explains this in these beautiful words, that Ksanakrama, Vivekajam, Jnanam and Pratipatti are the solutions for the separating the Purusha and establishing ourselves in our real self. Let us see the other sutra. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.